So I got a call from one of my cousins last week, and on that call, what he was talking about obviously the problem he had with his trucking business. Well, actually, he was a owner operator. So basically, the call goes like this: he calls me and obviously asks for dispatching help. But at least I thought it would be for dispatching, help. And he said that he is selling his truck and trailer, and basically he's going out of business. So as long as I remember him, he was making a lot of money in the trucking industry, being an owner operator, meaning he owned his truck and trailer. Now, what he says that he decided he's selling his truck and trailer, and he will be working because he has a CDL. He will be working for a local company. So that's the problem right now is a lot of people obviously asking this question. Um, Guys, I do see questions coming in. Please let them coming because I'll be taking these questions at the end. And whatever the questions you have, I'll do my best to help you with those questions. You 25, thank you for your question. I'll get back to your question. And again, if you guys have questions, please let me know and I'll start taking those questions. Let me cover some of the let's talk about the purpose of this video. A lot of obviously people asking about this, like, is it the end? Is trucking is dead? And unfortunately, a lot of people obviously, I'm reading your emails where you guys sending me, those emails. Most of those, um, and obviously, I agree with those. Trey, hello. And again, if you have questions, please let me know. I'll do take those questions. So another question will be, hey, Mega says, it is a good idea to buy a truck right now. All these questions awesome, and I'll do my best to take those questions. So Hermes says, does dispatching and broking is getting affected by the Uber freight? I do have an update from the Uber freight. I'll be sharing those with you. And again, guys, if you have questions, please. um, the Northeast is that, Trey says. Okay, we'll talk about this obviously, and if you guys have questions, please let me know. So and again, the purpose of this video, as you guys know, a lot of people interested in this topic, a lot of carriers. To me, this snowball, we got hit by this huge problem, and then I did a research and I asked a lot of people, brokers, carriers, and freight dispatchers, independent freight dispatchers, a lot of people. Um, let's see. Let's talk about this. The Bass 09 says a lot of carriers. In fact, what about the low rates? Oh my God, yes, we'll talk about those obviously. So the coming back to this purpose, as you guys know, this is a huge problem. I was doing my best to support a lot of carriers and independent freight dispatchers in the trucking, so that they can at least survive. But unfortunately, now it's kind of, I do see that it's coming to the end, but I'm not saying the trucking will end completely and will die completely. It's not a case, obviously, but then the carriers and owner operators and freight brokers, players in the game, majority of those people, for those people, it will be end game, obviously. So, and again, does truck business have scope in the future? Yes, I also will be talking about the future of the trucking, obviously, the technology. Many of you guys know the AI is huge right now. Many people talking about, more specifically, I'm talking about the Chat GPT. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, please Google. It's a game changer. So Gulshan says, do you think market will again go normal in 2024? Awesome, great questions, guys. We'll talk about this, and I'll be taking these questions. The overview will be obviously the challenges in the trucking. As I started the conversation with one of my cousins, that he is going out of business, obviously with his owner operator business, which is he was in the trucking, but then he basically think about like parking his trucks. He'll be selling his like truck and a trailer. Then he'll be working as a driver, a company driver locally. Think about, and he's been driving, at least as I know him, for about last decade, or 10, 12 years or something ish. So now a lot of cases like this every single day. That, and you guys know, and maybe you guys following the trend and the news, and you see a lot of big companies going out or selling their companies. So the challenge is obviously the low rates. We'll be talking about the fuel cost. And by the way, fuel cost in March um, is kind of decreased by, I don't know, I think it's 20 or 30 cents or something like that. But it's still, well, I'm talking about the average in the United States. So the main reason, and again, what you guys can do, this is basically, I'm not talking about like a statistics. I'm not this guy who is really complicating stuff. My job is basically simplify and explain what's happening right now. And if you are, I'm not talking about the shippers, obviously. If you are a owner operator, if you are a newcomer or new startup, maybe you just started your trucking company and you realize that, oh wow, I invested a lot of money, and this is what it is. This is the truth. It's low rates. I can't survive. And then most of the carriers, I think this video for you guys, and obviously independent freight dispatchers out there, we'll be talking about like the problem. So what happened? Most of you guys know I have a lot of students, a lot of people. I had a tracking company in the past. Well, I realized most of you, for like old folks meaning been in business at least for about 15 years or 20 years. When I started my company, tracking company, back in 2014, 2015-ish, something like that. And I quickly realized those people will agree with me. And in 2015, back in 2015, the trucking industry started slowly decreasing. We realized on a load board, people among dispatchers specifically, we were talking about like low rates. It started to decline. Although some people were making money, but then the majority of the independent freight dispatchers or carriers, more specifically, they were talking about like, oh well, we're not making enough money. So then what happened is it started declining in 2015, 2016. It slowed down. It's a little, picked up a little bit back in 2016, 2017, but then it's really slowed down in 2018. What happened in 2019? In 2019, COVID hit, and this is where I realized, and I was one of the guys that really struggling during the COVID. I just parked my car, trucks. The drivers got scared. I'm not even talking about, you guys lived through that nightmare, the COVID. So during the COVID 2019, I realized that we're not going anywhere. Although before I started teaching companies, basically I was working with one of my CPAs in my state, and she said, listen, your numbers are declining, and it's like, I advise you to just change your business model. For those who've been following me, they know the story behind this, but it's quickly when she said that, listen, 80%, 80% of your expenses, like basically, I'm making, let's say, $1 million a year. What happened? 80% of those expense, right? And then 20% is basically a profit. And think about, in the trucking, is because it's brutally competitive and capital intensive business. What happens to that 20%? It's just unexpected accident or something happens, your money is gone. You are in the business, but you're not making money. So I quickly realized that we're going somewhere that it's just, it's end. Then I started selling my trucks and trailers, and then I started teaching people. And at the same time, I was offering my freight dispatching services to owner operators. Owner operators, basically, you guys know the people who own their trucks and trailers. But then obviously they're buying or contracting with independent freight dispatchers or the carriers. They pay some percentage and deliver the goods or transport the carriers dispatch for them. And started like this. But then what happened was the problem again was there like accidents happening in my carrier side of the business. Obviously the insurance premium goes up, and that is the problem. So what happened, and for those of you who are thinking starting a, let's say, a trucking company, and I can say just hold on to it because I have a lot of things to share with you. This will be the informative, I think, the informative, the video that you can watch on YouTube. So I separated two companies. For those of you who are thinking starting their trucking companies at the same time with dispatching services, think about this. And again, this is for educational purposes. It's just like think about like separating the companies. Your trucking company is just basically your trucks. It's your company. You're finding loads for your trucks, but an independent freight dispatching company or dispatching services, it's basically you're dispatching other people's assets like trucks and trailers, dispatching for them. You don't own, but you just basically offering your dispatching services. That's it. And I highly advise separating those two companies. So then when I did this, obviously started like that was my one of my mistakes. I started dispatching using my company. And then what happened was um, they're in accidents or something happens, it affects my company. Now I affect my company, it's already sinking. Now we sold our trucks and trailers, now close this business, and we heavily focused on um, you know just basically dispatching other people's trucks. At the same time, a lot of people, like their owner operators and their wives, asked me to help them or train them how to dispatch so that they can help their husband or wives or cousins or whatever, or other people's trucks, so they can basically not buying the trucks and trailer, they're also in the trucking or stay in the trucking, but they don't own the asset, but they're offering their services to owner operators or the carriers. I'm not talking about the mega carriers, although some of my students, they're dispatching for mega carriers as well. So I realized that what why am I saying this or sharing this story with you is because when the tough times like these, you have to be prepared, and most importantly, I think you have to be ready for the change. And big change is coming. And then I realized back then, and I closed my business. So think about what would happen if I stayed in this business. Think about, I owned like 4 trucks. A lot of people, they owned like 10, 15, 20 trucks, 60 trucks. And think about what's happening all over the social media. People right now complaining. I watch a lot of videos. People like owners of like 150 trucks, 50 trucks, 20 trucks, 30 trucks in the United States. Like they all saying like, we're selling our trucks, we're closing our business. Guys, don't go into the business. For those people who are trying to buy a truck, they're really influenced by friends and families. They think that, hey, they can make money. And again, don't listen to me, right? Don't listen to any random guy on the internet who says that don't go into business. Just basically, this is what's happening right now. The biggest problem, and again, remember at the beginning of the video, I said that, hey, the problem, and I'm holding to that problem because we need to explain and just kind of unpack, and then I'll share what's happening so that it makes sense to you. So for those people who really want to go into this business, I would say just hold on, right? The some of you asked me like, what will happen? What do you think in 2014? I don't think, and again, this is my opinion, this is my personal opinion. I don't think the trucking industry will back up in 2 years and 3 years. So this won't change. a lot of things obviously going on, and most of you guys at least know what's happening. But then my job, as I said, is to simplify. Think about what's happening right now as the customer spending. One of the biggest reasons why this happening, and again, I'm summarizing it, making it very simple so that we can understand. And again, I'm not the guy who shares these like statistics, trends, this happening, that happening. This is my detailed research, and I'm using like words that even I don't understand what those. But and again, it's just basically making it very very simple. It's the customer spending. What I mean by that, the customer spending is basically cost of living, at least in the United States. It just went through the roof. When that happening, what happens? That's the biggest reason right now. Most of the people who are watching right now, just look at the situation. The cost of living went through the roof, and what's happening? We're not spending money. People, they hold on to their money, including myself too, right? They hold on to their money, and as a result of this, what's happening? Anybody, please, let's make this engaging and interactive. So when the customer spending, meaning the cost of living went through the roof and the customer spending declines, what's happening? Just throw some ideas, and then we'll discuss. So what's happening is the production goes down, and again, it's the supply chain, right? I mean, it's a supply demand thing. It's when customer spending, well, if we're not spending money in what's happening, the production goes down. When the production goes down, and then obviously it affects everybody. So the I think the brokers making money, there are a lot of emails coming saying, Kamal, a lot of brokers making a lot of money. I kind of partially agree on this one because I worked with a lot of good brokers in the industry, and I know a lot of brokers, and I have a lot of friends and families in the they are like they own the brokerage companies. To me, I can share this in for most of you, maybe it will be shocking thing, but then if you're a broker, please share your thoughts on this if you agree or disagree. Majority of those, and again, in my opinion, I think it's about 80% or 90% of the brokers that you guys know, they're not making money. That's truth, right? They're not making money. To back up this, think about what was I think was posted in January by Uber Freight. Think about the Uber Freights, and somebody asked me about the Uber Freights. What happened? If you guys know, that's the brokers division, right? They cut it 150 jobs in their broker division. Think about, right? So they're not making enough money. So I had friends that I personally talked to them and ask detailed question about this, what they charge and how they make money. And I did a lot of videos about like how much the brokers making, how much the dispatchers making, how much trucking companies making. Guys, most of those people, brokers, and again, I'm not against them and I'm not with them. It's just I'm not saying that I agree with them, but I do believe that some of the brokers, they're basically pocketing a lot of, or putting a lot of money into their pockets, not sharing with the carriers. I know how I know, because I was a carrier and I know this. Yes, it's happening. But then majority of those brokers companies out there, they're not making enough money. They're going out of business. They're changing business models. They're doing something else, or freight dispatching or something like that. They're not making money. So then for those people coming back and in saying that if you are going into the trucking, please just do your own research. But then again, this is my personal opinion that I share with you. Don't do it. I would say just wait and see what will happen. But then again, if you really want to make money, go into this business, think about like different models of business. For example, freight Dispatching is one of them. The other one is work for a broker who makes money as a broker agent. You can work independently, or you can work for a carrier who makes money. If you know in your town, if you're local, for example, you can go and work for a carrier. You can also work remotely for a carrier. A lot of people all over the world working for carriers in the United States. So let me start taking questions and start talking about this, because you guys had a lot of good questions. So if you guys know this theme, or the model that we do is basically we're talking about the problem and share our thoughts and inform you guys what's happening, what's coming. We will also be talking about, I think we'll do another video. I'm not going to do like a long video, but then we'll do again videos like self-driving, the trucks. A lot of people asking about those. Then obviously AI influenced, or technology influencing the trucking industry. Yes, all those true. And obviously, if you are ready for the change, you can do great. But if you're not ready for the change, and obviously that will be the end. So let's start with you. I think this person was the first. Should I still start a dispatching business? Well, I would say yes and no. Why is that? Why it's open? But think about, yes, it's very lucrative business. You're not buying trucks in or truck or trailer because it's really expensive. If we were talking about just used truck, it's thousands of dollars, right? Tens of thousands of dollars. And on top of that, you're buying a trailer. It's and again, very, very expensive. But with freight dispatching, you're not buying trucks and trailer. It's basically you own a company, or open an LLC. And again, by the way, there are a lot of people commenting on under the videos, saying that, and I read those comments. But again, guys, be careful. The new FMCSA rule, and I did 2 videos in details, an hour long, one about 2 hours long, talking about the new rules by the FMCSA. Right, so you must have an LLC. You must be a company in order to dispatch other people's trucks. Right, so if you're thinking that no, we don't, it's not required, I really highly advise to go to FMCSA and read the new regulation. Okay, so why no? No, I can say no, don't go into dispatching business if you don't know marketing. What I realized, a lot of course creators out there on the market, a lot of people, they're not teaching the marketing, right? The marketing is huge. I can teach you ins and outs of a load board. I can teach you I'll give you all the documents you need. But again, if you're not good at marketing, if you can't find a customer, if you can't convince a customer, uh, like, everything is worthless, right? And what I see is 99% of the course creators out there, people who teach freight dispatching, how to become a freight dispatching, they don't teach the marketing aspect. So to summarize, yes, it's lucrative business if you're thinking not buying a truck and trailer and you just open an LLC. If you know how to dispatch, then yes, I would recommend, obviously. But again, it's your business, you making your own decisions. But then no, don't go into the business if you don't know how to dispatch. But then it's easily you can learn how to dispatch. But then if you don't know how to market, if you don't know how to get carriers, then I would say please learn the marketing first. Obviously, then you can start your business. So let's go and have this question. Is it a good idea to buy a truck right now? Obviously, to me, it's my personal opinion. Obviously, it's no. It's a big no. And we explain the reasons why. Well, just basically watch and see what happens. There are a lot of people selling their trucks right now. Rates are down, the expenses went through the roof, but again, not, people, they're not profitable. And for those reasons, obviously, people stopping or parking their trucks, or they're going out of business, or they're changing the business model, as I did. Right, so be careful with that. And again, that's my personal opinion. You make your own decisions. Okay, so let's talk about this. Hermes Exports. Does dispatching in brokerage is getting affected by Uber Freight? Yes. The thing about the Uber Freight, yes, it's a huge company. And again, we talked about this, that they are cutting 150 jobs in their brokers division. It's all about marketing. Right? If you know marketing and if you have enough marketing budget to spend money to get or acquire a customer, you win. If you spend a lot of money to get a carrier, you will win. Think about, you are far ahead of me if you know marketing, right? How to basically, it's like branding yourself. It's all about the copy, the website and everything. But again, boils down to strategies and then boils down to tactics. So if you know marketing, how to get a carrier, well, then you need to have a marketing budget. So if you have a marketing budget of, let's say, $100 per month, you're spending $100 to get a carrier, and then I'm spending $10,000 per month to get a carrier. Who wins? Right? The answer is, it's obvious, right? I win. Why is it? Because I'm spending 10,000. Guy next to me, spends about 50K or 60K per month to get carriers or customers. Think about who wins, right? The I think, to me, is more money you spend on marketing, you win. But again, if you have the right strategies and tactics, I would say, in parentheses, I would put it. So if you know the marketing strategies and tactics and you're spending the most money to acquire a carrier or a customer, you win. So that's what I think, based on how you getting like, I'm not a broker. I'm not going into, give you ins and outs of this. I'm not a broker. But then again, you do your own research. But as far as dispatching goes, yes, a lot of people, when the Uber Freight came into the game, and then a lot of people think about Amazon Relay. A lot of people like, wow, now Amazon provides with the load board, which is Relay. You just go there, loads are there, right? So dispatching still there. But then when I say dispatching, or I want to really share this, dispatching, there's three main ingredients. It's finding a load, booking a load, and dispatching a load, right? So when we think about these three steps, we just say dispatching. But then finding loads using load boards, booking process is when you're talking to brokers, and obviously finding loads using load boards, booking process, talking to brokers, and obviously dispatching. When you have the loads, you dispatching loads to your carriers. And those are the steps, right? So think about, with Uber Freight, they like finding loads. You're not doing it. Well, I think you're doing it, but it's basically loads out there. Your lane is there. You just basically, I want to move this load, and that's it. You book a load. You're not talking to a broker. That's it. You have it, and then you dispatch to your carrier. That's it. It's done. Now, and again, if you everything boils down to, as I said, the marketing. If you know your marketing, you can compete with the Uber Freight, right? So you're thinking like, oh wow, this is a huge company. But again, I don't know your ambitions and your goals, how big you want it to be as a dispatching company or brokerage company, millions or billions, I have no idea. But then you will be making really good money if you know how to market yourself, with your brokerage company, and obviously with freight dispatching. So I don't know about this specifically. The Northeast is dead. Some regions, it's all about supply and demand. Some regions, just dead. Then it's like it gets really busy, and then the other side, dead, and then it goes. And you guys have a lot of opportunities on those zones. So let's see. Let me take this question. How can I become independent dispatcher? Very simply, is you need a training if you don't know the process. A lot of videos. And again, guys, don't pay a lot of money to going out and then spending thousands of dollars on a training. I don't recommend. By watching, truly, watching my videos, you can do a lot better than, like, I do have students who said that, hey, listen, like, your YouTube videos, it's free, but then I paid a lot of money, X, Y, and Z companies, and then I get nothing, almost nothing, right? So just watch YouTube videos, my videos, and there are a lot of people that sharing free knowledge on YouTube. Learn. But then again, when it comes to marketing and experience, this is where the owner comes in and said, listen, I'm doing it, and this is what I see, this is what I use, these are the processes that I have, these are the systems that I'm using, these are the tools that I'm using. And if there's a guidance, then obviously I'll recommend joining that training and then get the training. And training is must, right? Before doing anything, like, you need to get trained, you need to know the load board, talking to the brokers. Now brokers changing too, right? The brokers load boards are more specifically focusing on not the carriers right now, they're focusing on brokers, because it's a number one tool for the brokers, right? So within the broker, if you guys remember, I did with Mark, can't remember his last name. He is the um, top training or trainer for the DAT, and I did a live training how to optimize the load board. And he talked about that one of the add-ons they have, or the features with their load board, with their new load board, is that now brokers can dispatch or share the loads with their in-network meaning, hey, if I know, and again I'm simplifying, it's just like, hey, if I'm a broker and I know these carriers and I want to work with these carriers, and when I post, only these people or these carriers will see, other carriers won't see. What right now, if you're using a load board, you go there and then you're just searching it. If you're not seeing it, a lot of load boards, because right now brokers posting loads to their in network. If you didn't know this, please know, please consider learning about this. This is huge. So there is a way go about this, and we'll talk about maybe in another video. But again, they're posting to the in networks. Basically, I'm sharing the loads. If I know you, if you did a load for me, if I know you, then you will see it. Everybody else, none. They won't see. Okay, so a lot of carriers, in fact, what about the low rates? Yes, low rates. I think what you see, what you're talking about, is the spot market rates. I really consider this. If you're a carrier, consider working directly with shipper. And again, when we talk about direct shipper, another question, and logically, next question comes up to mind is, how am I going to work directly with shippers? But before even considering working with the shipper, think about your niche meaning what you're hauling. So if you're a truck and trailer, are you in the car hauling market, are you in the reefer market, or refrigerated or temperature controlled market, are you in the step dock, step deck, or the flatbed market, are you drive-in? When you have those, and then you're like, okay, so how many trucks you have? Do you have 10, 20, 50, or do you have one? So if you have one, and obviously it's very tough game to go in and working with the direct shipper. But then if you have 5 or more trucks, then it becomes easy to work with shippers. So the size of a shipper really, really important. So to consider, if you're talking about the low rates, I'm assuming you're talking about the spot market rates. Okay, let's talk about this. Does the truck business have a scope in the future? Guys, we know that 70% of the freight moved by trucks. The trucking itself, the trucking, it's not gonna go anywhere near in the future. But then obviously technology will influence, specifically AI is going to very disrupt the industry. But again, learn about artificial intelligence, learn about the tech, and that will give you the scope of the future, or in the future. So let's take this question. I think Gulshan said this. Did you think, or do you think market will again go normal in 2024? My personal opinion, I don't think it will go back to normal within 3 to 4 years. And obviously, I backed up with a lot of why I think this. But again, I don't think it will be. And again, this is my personal opinion. I don't think it will go back to normal in 2024. So let's see. It is a soft market for the trucking industry. I don't know if this is a question, but Soft market for the tracking. I don't know if this is a question, but if you turn it into a question, I'll take your question. Okay, let's take about this. Anas Ali says, these days, independent freight dispatching marketing is not working out. Okay, when you say marketing is not working out, please tell me about the strategies that you use, what you did. Are you making cold calling? Are you using social media? And if so, what are the ad copies you're using? Like if you're using, let's say, social media, more specifically you're using, let's say, Facebook. What have you done? What's your marketing budget? So how many assets are you using? Just tell me about this. It's very broad when you say marketing is not working. Marketing is working, right? So the strategy intact, the strategy is very important. And because of that, when you have good strategies, there are bad strategies and good strategies. There are a lot of people spending thousands of dollars on bad strategies and they're not getting any results. So if you have good strategies how to acquire a customer, and you have good strategies how to execute on your strategy, then obviously the marketing budget is the third component, which is huge. And if you have the marketing budget, then obviously you win, right? So that should work. So if it's not more working, and think about it, it's just a machine. If it's not working, it's something happening, right? So something it's not right. But it's not that the marketing, the overall marketing is not working to acquire a customer for independent freight dispatcher. Okay, what should we do to have a carrier? There are a lot of videos, since this already is a long video, but then there are a lot of videos in my channel. Please watch. I do talk about email marketing. I do, talk about the using or leveraging social media, how to get a customers. And again, tools are very important, guys. And I'll do another video that we will be sharing the tools that are necessary, specifically in 2023 for the tracking for independent freight dispatching. So that will be another video. So let's think. This is scary for us in the trucking industry. I completely agree. Yes, this is scary time. If you are independent freight dispatcher, if you have a team, if you are a broker, or if you have a carrier, guys, carriers are struggling the most, right? Carriers, it's scary for them right now. Yes, I totally agree. Let's talk about this. Shaina says, do you know anything about the ports? Why do you think the port work is slow? Do you think will pick back up? Good question. I did a lot of, or moved a lot of freight from the ports. And again, if you go back to the video, watch from the beginning, the middle of the video, we talked about this, the customer spending, right? The customer spending, and again, we said why customer spending is declined is because of the cost of a living, went through the roof, and because of that, people hold on to money. And we're talking about the United States is a huge country, and obviously affects, right? So it's because of that, what's happening? The production goes down. When production goes down, is very, very simple, right? So, and again, do you think it will, pick back up? I don't think next year or 2025. And again, it's my personal opinion. This is basically what I see, and I've been in business so long, so kind of I'm predicting. But again, I don't think it will, very near future, will back up. I don't think so. So let's see. Nimanja says, how can I become independent freight dispatcher? Please, I need help. Thanks. You are a god for the beginners in the job. Thank you for the compliment. I'm not a god. I'm just a regular person. But again, I do my best to help you guys. And again, nothing to sell. It just is basically providing the information or informing you guys. And I'm basically supporting whatever the questions you have. Obviously, you can send an email info at, let me share. Let me go here and then share. This is the email I have. You can send, and I'll do my best to help you with whatever the questions you guys have. So hope that helps. Let me go back and see. Let's take this. Zuzi says, do you think the industry is dying? Because what I think is that dispatching services are no more need because there are no more good loads. Okay, let's analyze this question. If we are talking specifically independent freight dispatching or freight dispatching, but we are talking about like in general trucking industry. But if we were more specifically talking about this, this dispatching services dying, are no more needed. I don't think is no more needed, but their carriers obviously need. But again, those carriers who kind of pass through the survival mode and they're doing good, not I don't think it's a big numbers. But again, those people obviously always look for independent freight dispatching. So no more good loads. This is questionable. When you say good loads, what do you exactly mean? Good loads meaning it's just like partial loss and it pays good. And if that's what you're saying, are you saying, let's say contracted rates? And we also need to talk about the spot market rates. So basically, this is kind of the question is not clear to me. But again, I don't think the dispatching services are dying because there are no more good loads. Why? Because dispatchers are the people who find good loads for their carriers, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. Okay, what change exactly are you talking about? What is going to happen now or what's happening? Okay, this is a great question. And and again, I think the most of the majority of this I covered in the video. Please go back. I'm not going to repeat. We talked about like what were exactly happening and what will happen in the future, and what will be what was the change. So let's talk about the world's ports begin to work faster. Freight prices have decreased. Yes, yes, I agree with Yuri. Okay, let's see. Hinnock says, how about doing some research and do business in countries where the business is still good? I think, to me, it's we're talking about the United States, trucking industry, but we're not talking about international business. Obviously, we can talk about this, but when you say doing business in the countries where it's still good, if you're talking about specifically like independent freight dispatching, I think you can do it. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Diksha says, should students go for a dispatching course? And we talked about this. And again, I'll just briefly touch this. If you don't know how to dispatch, if you don't know how to use a load board, and again, don't pay for a course where you can go and learn how to dispatch, because to me, be honest with you, my videos will do the work. But then when it comes to marketing, I highly recommend taking marketing courses or enroll into the courses where the owner knows the marketing and knows what he's talking about. Then obviously the support is very important. Their live Q&As, you're asking questions and helping along the way. Then yes, I highly recommend joining the course. Okay. Wajik says, what do you think about dispatching? Does it have a future? Obviously, yes. Dispatching, when we say dispatching, what comes up to mind is basically finding load. There's a person behind the computer, and then it finds a load using load boards, and then when we find a load, let's say, or that person finds a load, what happens? They calls the broker, talking to a broker, and negotiates the load. And what happened? If we agree, and then we dispatch to a carrier, then carrier picks up the load and delivers, and we just monitor and then help the carrier deliver. That's the process. Dispatching workflow may change because of the AI, because of the technology, but there always will be a people behind using the systems. Think about back in the old days, specifically if you are in business for about last 30, 40, 50 years. If you were hauling, what would happen? You go to, the process was go to a truck stop, call the broker, and this is before it's at the pre internet thing or pre load boards, right? That was the process. And then what happened? Then people start using internet, load boards popped up. And there were some dispatchers out there. The brokers had dispatchers working and talking to brokers because brokers, to carriers, because brokers were busy acquiring customers, and then dispatchers working for brokers were talking to carriers and supporting them. But then the workflow changed. They Now we have load boards, and then people behind these load boards searching for carriers. For loads so that they can dispatch to carriers. Workflow may change, right? It can become very, very easy, but then I don't think the dispatching will go away near the future. So hope that helps. Okay, let's see. I think we got this already. Um, let's talk about this. Maybe the customer is also cost cutting. I agree. I agree. And why is that? Think about. I have one of my cousins. He's selling. Um, he's in the clothing business. What happens is that now he overstocked, right? So he has a lot of items to sell, but it's that's it. It's people, because of the we talked about customer spending is a problem. People not spending money. What he does is like, okay, if this item or if this clothing it's not doing well, let me just hold on to it. I'll buy more so that I can sell this, and alongside we can sell this one. And what's happening is just like this mechanism is just basically it's just a trap, right? Now you have worth of thousands of dollars of clothing, and that's it. So what's happening right now is just like, hey, I want to close this store. If I have 3 or 4 stores, I want to close this, or I'll just lay off some of my employees or salesmen or something like that. Well, obviously, yes, I totally agree with that. Let me see. Uh, did a lot of good questions, guys. Thank you. Um, let me let me take this. I think this will be. Hinak says, "How about doing some research?" I think we got this. So let's see. Can we provide dispatch service? There you go. Can we provide dispatch services to multiple trucking companies? I highly recommend watching my two last two videos. You can just filter those videos. It's about new regulation. I'm not going into details, but again, if you can properly set up your dispatching company, you can do that. But then please watch those two videos because um, it goes into details. Okay, let's see. Denise says, so Kamal, summarize it for us. Okay, so I think by watching this video, you need to summarize for yourself because it's very important. What happens to trucking industry in the next 2 to 5 years? I already talked about this. In my opinion, as I like repeatedly, I said this. Maybe you asked the question before, but then what does the inevitable mean for the dispatchers? And I also talked about dispatchers. What will be the future for dispatchers? I just covered it. Please watch those and it will clear your questions. Okay, let's think. Take this. And it says all cold callings, Facebook and WhatsApp too. I'm not sure about WhatsApp, but Facebook works. Cold calling, some of my students, they're really good at cold calling, and then we have techniques to share with them, and then obviously we give them a script, and then they're doing really good. And again, cold calling script is very important. A little bit of a training. The Facebook is the killer. It works. Guys, there are a lot of questions, and obviously we can't go over them. But again, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And we'll be doing again this. It's just basically the market update for you. I hope you guys like it. We'll come back on Tuesday at 5 p.m. and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.